I'm here at Ripon Marketplace. It's nearly 9 o'clock. Oh, it is the lady. It's the lady. Lady Hornblower. All right. She's waiting for the chance.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Welcome to Ripon. My name is Alison and I'm your member of the horn-blowing team for this evening. So that short ceremony that you've just witnessed is known as the setting of the watch, and it dates back to 886, which makes it 1,137 years of tradition that we've been maintaining in Ripon. Not me all the time. And at this point in the proceedings, we give a short history talk about the origins and traditions surrounding the setting of the watch tradition. At the end of which, if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them if they've not been answered through the talk. The talk is about 10 to 15 minutes long if you've got time to stay. If you've heard it before, if you have to be elsewhere, please feel free to wander off at any point. I won't be offended, that's absolutely fine. So as I said, ceremony of the setting of the watch dates back to 886, when King Alfred the Great granted Ripon its first charter, possibly due to the support from the Saxon settlement of Ripon against the Viking intruders. And it's said that because that was a spontaneous decision and nothing had been planned or prepared, a horn was given as a gesture of good faith and as a symbol of the charter. And that began this unusual connection between a horn and the city of Ripon. They decided to put the horn to good use, and they appointed a wakeman. They gave him the horn, and his job was to set a watch in a similar way as I did tonight, and then he had to patrol the area during the hours of dusk till dawn, making sure everyone could sleep safely in their beds because he would be keeping a lookout. So it started off as a night watchman type role, and that continued and it developed, and the wakeman became ultimately responsible for crime prevention and law and order in Ripon. He was elected annually to the role, but it wasn't a particularly popular office to hold. As we all know, keeping law and order in any age it is quite a challenge, and obviously the Wakemen didn't have any backup from the police, so the role carried with it a lot of responsibility. And the Wakeman became the first or the leading citizen of Ripon. He really was a very important, powerful and influential man. He did have certain powers. There was a door tax in Ripon that he could collect, and he could also fine people for their crimes and their misdemeanours. And with that money, he could then employ others to help him to do the job. And it's said that the Wakeman and his constables ruled the city with a rod of iron, meting out justice as they saw fit. And as time went on, it was thought by many that perhaps the Wakeman and his constables had become a little bit too powerful, a little bit of a law unto themselves, because they were totally unregulated. So in 1604, King James I of England, who was also King James VI of Scotland, he granted Ripon its second charter, and this time it was a written document. We still have that document to this day up in the town hall, and the charter aimed to put things down in writing as to how Ripon would be organised and how it would be run. And that charter aimed to make things a bit more democratic in Ripon. So that charter did away with the role of the Wakeman. And the last Wakeman that we ever had in Ripon then became the first mayor of the city. And we've had a mayor elected ever since that time through a democratic process. When we do the blast on the fourth corner of the obelisk, after we've done that, we doff our hat in that direction. And we're doffing our hat in that direction of that little house with the pointed roof. That's known locally as the Wakeman's house. Even though the plaque by the Civic Society is actually on that building with the blue stripe. But local traditions die hard, so that is the Wakeman's house. It's currently the Wakeman's Cafe. And that is said to be the residence of the last Wakeman and the first mayor of Ripon, a gentleman by the name of Hugh Ripley. And the reason we doff our hat in that direction is that legend has it that if the horn is not sounded to Hugh Ripley's satisfaction, the last Wakeman and the first mayor, then his ghostly face will appear in that top attic window, and all manner of tragedies and pestilence will descend on the city. Usually the view is nicely obscured by that tree, so we never know if he appears or not, although there are lots of local stories that concur with that belief. When Hugh Ripley became the mayor, he then didn't want to come out to set the watch every night, as he had been doing as the Wakeman. So he decided to appoint a hornblower to do the job for him. So the tradition of setting of the watch remains unbroken, remains continued, remains the same, but the person doing it then becomes known as a hornblower and not a wakeman. And it's still the case today, we're called hornblowers. It's still the case today, we work for the mayor of the day, and we're only ever allowed to blow the horn whenever and wherever the mayor of the day gives us permission to do so. When Hugh Ripley became the mayor, he established a new rule for his hornblowers. And he said, after the watch has been set on the market square, it's the duty of the hornblower to report to the mayor of the day, wherever they are in the city, and signify that the watch has been set by blowing 3 blasts of the horn, raising your hat, bowing your head, and shouting, "Mr. Mayor, the watch is set." And we still have to perform that secondary duty to this very day. So it's not as ancient as the first setting of the watch ceremony, but it is still a good few hundred years old. So after we've finished on the market square, we go to the mayor's abode of the evening. Normally that means we go to the mayor's house. We have a very special mayoral lamppost in Ripon. It has a lantern on, the same as that one above the town hall door. And every time we get a new mayor, the special mayoral lamppost is moved to outside the mayor's house. And much to the joy of the mayor's new next door neighbours and anyone who's gone to bed for an early night, that's where we go to do the blast of the mayor after we've finished on the market square. If the mayor's away from the city on holiday, or for whatever reason can't receive us at home, then the blasts are done under that lantern above the town hall door. Unless the mayor is at a function in the city, a concert at the cathedral, or a dinner at the golf club, or as happened to me in February, I think it was, at the Ripon pantomime. And then we just go and interrupt the whole proceedings and do the blast to the mayor wherever he happens to be.
He's behind you.
So that's how we keep the tradition going, and the horn is very, very important to the civic life of Ripon. It's become our unofficial coat of arms. It's a symbol of the city. It's on all our badges and our insignia, like mine here. Even the bottom of our benches are a horn shape, and the cutouts on our bicycle racks are a horn shape. And once you know about that connection between a horn and the city of Ripon, you will start to spot horns in all sorts of places where you look. So just to very briefly tell you about the horns. The horn that started everything off, the 886 horn, we call that the charter horn, and we still have that horn in our possession. It can't be used as a blowing horn anymore because it's a very ancient and precious relic, but it very much still takes part in civic proceedings. So the horn, that ancient horn, is processed in front of the people on very, very special occasions, like the coronation of King Charles III, like the Freedom of the City Parade for the Royal Engineers. So it does come out, it's still very much part of our activities. The next oldest one dates from 1690, bought by the City Council for 6 shillings and 8pence, 34p in today's money. That one can still be used as a blowing horn. It's been retired at the moment for a bit of TLC, but that is still a fully functioning horn, so it was a very good investment. The next oldest horn that is in current use is the 1865 horn, a great big African ox horn given as a gift to the city by the mayor of the day. The other horn that's in current use is the 1986 horn, given as a gift to the city by a local business. The one that I use is one of the more recent horns. This is a 2019 horn. This is called the McCarty Quest horn. It was given as a gift to the city by the mayor of the day, and it came from a local bull from Malton called Setterington Quest. That bull had a minor claim to fame in that it appeared in the Dad's Army film with Catherine Zeta-Jones and Bill Nighy. And if you ever watch that film, in the opening sequences, Captain Mannering is chased into a bush by a bull, and the bull was Setterington Quest, and it was this actual horn that was threatening him in the bushes. And his memory lives on now in one of the movies. We then have the Platinum Jubilee horn that the City Council bought last year to commemorate Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee. The only other horn we've got to mention is the one up on top of the obelisk, blown in a different way because it's a weather vane. That's a gilded horn that was put there in 1889. John Azelby put the obelisk here in 1703. John Azelby, who owned the Fountains Abbey estate, formerly Chancellor of the Exchequer. And on the top, there's the weather vane. Now, everyone was led to believe the golden horn contained 7 golden sovereigns. But when it had to come down a little bit early in 1986 for some repairs to be done to the obelisk, of course, they opened up the golden horn, eagerly awaiting the chance to count the golden coins, only to find, you may have guessed already, the horn was empty. And all that was inside, apparently, was a bill for the repairs to the obelisk that had been an unpaid bill. So, the night watchman role, then the law and order role, then in more recent times, the hornblower has been a civic office, a ceremonial role to maintain the setting of the watch tradition to welcome people to Ripon, to promote the city, to take part in civic parades and whatever else we're asked to do. So in more recent times it became a hornblower with a deputy, so we needed 2 blowing horns in operation. Since 2015 it's been a team of hornblowers that have carried out the duty. So there's currently 3 of us in the team. We're on a rota to make sure, like all the people that have gone before us, the watch is set every night here at 9 o'clock. The only exception to that has been during lockdown, when, like many other people, we weren't allowed to come to work. And no precedent had ever been set before as to how a hornblower works from home. So what it was decided that we should do, and we did this for 18 months, was we set the watch on our normal rota from our individual back gardens. We all live very close to the square, so the sound carried over. We posted it live on Facebook every night. We had quite a following of people that were making sure we did do that. And then we texted the mayor. So modern technology stepped in, helped us to save the day and to make sure the tradition was continued, but a new piece of hornblowing history was created then. Anyway, whatever brings you to Ripon, I hope you have a lovely time here. I hope the good weather continues. Thank you very much for coming out tonight. It's very, very rare that we ever set the watch and there's no one here. So it's always lovely to see a bigger crowd tonight. And I'd like to end by saying, sleep safe all. The watch is set. Thank you.
There they are.
Anyone's got any questions or anything they want to know, please?
Where is the mayor tonight then?
The mayor is at home, yeah. So he comes out in his dressing gown and slippers.
Oh, bless
Thank
him.
you very much. Yeah, he's at his house tonight. Yeah, so you won't see that one. Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're
Yes,
welcome.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do you want a hand out?
No, I'm okay getting down. Yeah.
Are you
I'm
sure?
right, yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank
She's
you.
like
you very
Frankie
much.
You're
Vittori.
welcome.
She
Thank
used
you.
Very
to.
interesting.
Good.
Go on.
Lovely to see you.
Bye.
Oh, well, that's it. A lady hornblower.
Yeah. They've carried on the tradition for a long time. haven't
Yeah. I can't understand why they didn't just put a mask on the end of the horn when it was pandemic.
What do you mean the mask?
We put a mask on the end of the horn.
Yeah, but the fact that we should coming out to do it, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was people. There was about half a dozen of us that time waiting. We didn't know
All right.
to film it, and
Yeah.
then somebody looked on the phone, and they said, "Oh no, this is not coming out."
Yeah.
And there was about half a dozen of us waiting.
Yeah. No, very good.
But never mind,
Oh, well,
It was
we've
very
seen it
good.
tonight.
yeah.
Right.
Ta-ra now.
We never
Ta-
knew about it. Well, we learnt about it the other day.
Oh well, I'm from Ripon. I know all about it.
I've
So.
been to Ripon a few times
Yeah.
over the years, but we never knew about it.
I left
We
when
read
I
it
was
on that
12.
post.
I'm from Ripon. Yeah. Cheers now. Ta-ra. Teet, teet, teet. Oh well, that's it. And that's the horn she was on about up there, where there's no gold coins in it. Ta-ra for a bit.